Welcome to the WorldWire Update. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. In August 2025, a federal appellate court delivered a landmark decision that sent shockwaves through the political and economic landscape of the United States. The ruling targeted one of Donald Trump's most controversial economic policies, his sweeping global tariffs, which had been a cornerstone of his administration's approach to international trade. In a narrow 7-4 vote, the court determined that Trump's tariffs on imported goods had gone beyond the limits of presidential authority, fundamentally challenging the legal foundation for billions of dollars in taxes collected from businesses and consumers. The judges concluded that the former president had overstepped the powers granted by Congress, using emergency authority in a way that was far broader than intended by lawmakers. However, the impact of the ruling is not immediate. The decision is on hold until October 14th, giving the current administration a window to appeal to the Supreme Court, setting the stage for a dramatic legal showdown that could have far-reaching consequences. This legal battle actually began over a year earlier, in May 2024, when the U.S. Court of International Trade first ruled against the tariffs, questioning their legality and the process by which they were imposed. Now, with the appellate court upholding that judgment, the entire strategy behind the tariffs stands at a crossroads, leaving businesses, investors, and policymakers scrambling to prepare for what comes next. For businesses, governments, and everyday consumers, the uncertainty is palpable. Prices, jobs, and even international relationships are all hanging in the balance as the nation waits for the next move. The court's decision has ignited a national debate about the true limits of presidential power in shaping trade policy, and whether such sweeping actions should be checked by the courts or Congress. The next few weeks will be critical, as the country watches to see whether this policy will stand or fall, and what that will mean for the future of American trade. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for politicians and business leaders, but for every American household, as the outcome could affect everything from grocery bills to job security. The final decision could reshape the prices you pay at the store, the competitiveness of American companies, and the country's role in the global economy for years to come. All eyes now turn to the Supreme Court, where the fate of this historic policy, and its impact on millions, will soon be decided. To grasp the impact of the court's decision, let's break down tariffs. A tariff is a tax on imported goods, making foreign products more expensive and encouraging people to buy American. Trump made tariffs central to his America First agenda, targeting countries like China and even U.S. allies. The legal basis? The International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, which lets the president act in a national emergency. Trump declared unfair trade practices a national threat, using IEPA to bypass Congress and impose tariffs quickly. This aggressive use of emergency powers sparked the legal challenges now in play. The courts are questioning whether this was a true emergency, or just a way to reshape global trade. That's the heart of the current uncertainty. The appellate court's ruling was clear. The president's use of IEPA for broad tariffs went too far. The judges said emergency powers can't be used for sweeping economic policy. They must address a specific, genuine emergency. Not all tariffs are affected. Those on steel and aluminum, justified under different laws, remain. The core issue is separation of powers. Congress, not the president, controls trade and taxes. The court warned that unchecked emergency powers could let any president impose tariffs at will, undermining Congress. This ruling draws a line. Presidential power in trade has limits. The Supreme Court will now decide if that line holds. The outcome could redefine how America sets trade policy. The stakes for the balance of power are enormous. The Trump administration responded swiftly, condemning the ruling and vowing to fight. Trump warned that overturning tariffs would destroy the U.S. economy, insisting all tariffs remain in effect for now. On September 3rd, the administration appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing the president acted lawfully under IEPA. The White House framed the battle as a defense of American sovereignty against activist judges. As the legal fight escalated, Trump announced new tariffs, 100% on some imported medicines, and steep taxes on trucks, cabinets, and furniture. The message is clear. The administration is doubling down, using every tool to pursue its trade agenda. Even if the Supreme Court rules against broad tariffs, targeted measures may continue. The legal and political stakes have never been higher. These new tariffs aren't just headlines, they'll hit American wallets. A 100% tariff on imported prescription drugs could send prices soaring for patients. Home renovations will get pricier, with 50% tariffs on kitchen cabinets and 30% on furniture. Trucking companies face higher costs from a 25% tariff on heavy trucks, likely passing those costs to consumers. When shipping gets more expensive, so does everything you buy. The one-to-one chip rule could disrupt tech, requiring a US-made chip for every imported one, or face huge tariffs. Since chips power everything from cars to smartphones, any price hike ripples through the economy. Even targeted tariffs can trigger inflation, raising costs across the board. The impact will be felt in homes, stores, and paychecks nationwide. The ripple effect is real and growing. America's trading partners aren't standing still, they're hitting back. The global trade landscape is shifting rapidly as countries and companies adjust to new realities. Canada and India have imposed retaliatory tariffs, escalating the trade war. These measures are designed to protect their own economies and send a strong message. The EU negotiated a deal to lower tariffs, while China eased some restrictions and resumed key exports, hoping for relief. These moves are part of broader strategies to stabilize their economies. Global tensions are high, but some countries are seeking compromise. Diplomatic efforts are ongoing, with leaders trying to find common ground amidst the chaos. U.S. businesses are split, many oppose tariffs for raising costs and disrupting supply chains, while some manufacturers support them for protection. The debate is intense and opinions are divided. The pharmaceutical industry is a case in point. European drug makers face steep new taxes or costly U.S. investments, while some American firms see opportunity. The stakes are high for both sides. The policy creates winners and losers, even within the same industry. Companies are navigating a complex and unpredictable environment. Companies are scrambling to adapt, shifting supply chains and investment plans. Flexibility and innovation are key to survival in this new era. The uncertainty is reshaping global business decisions. Executives are reevaluating strategies and looking for ways to mitigate risks. The world is watching and reacting. Every move is being scrutinized and the impact is felt across the globe. The fallout is far from over. As the situation evolves, the global economy remains in a state of flux, with long-term consequences yet to be fully understood. Now, the Supreme Court holds the future of U.S. trade policy in its hands. The justices are weighing a case that could reshape how America does business with the world, and the stakes couldn't be higher. If the justices side with the administration, presidential power over tariffs will expand dramatically. The president could gain sweeping authority to impose or lift tariffs, potentially bypassing Congress and acting quickly in response to global events. If not, Congress's authority will be reaffirmed and many tariffs could fall. Lawmakers would regain their traditional role in shaping trade policy, and the balance of power between the branches of government would be restored. For consumers, the immediate concern is prices, especially for drugs, furniture, and home goods. Everyday Americans could see real changes at the checkout line, as tariffs often mean higher costs for imported products. Even if broad tariffs are struck down, new targeted ones may stick. Some industries could still face higher import costs, and businesses may need to adjust their supply chains to adapt to the new rules. Watch the stock market. Trade uncertainty can shake investments and retirement savings. Investors react quickly to policy shifts, and volatility could ripple through portfolios and pension funds. Beyond the legal fight, this is a debate about America's economic direction. Decoupling from China, reshoring jobs, and the cost of protectionism. The outcome could influence where companies build factories and how they hire workers. Supporters see security and jobs, critics warn of higher prices and strained alliances. The arguments are passionate, with real impacts for families, workers, and the nation's global relationships. The Supreme Court's decision will set a precedent for years. It will shape not just today's trade battles, but how future presidents and Congresses share power. As the battle plays out, every American will feel the effects, in their wallets and in the world around them. From the cost of groceries to the stability of jobs, the outcome will touch daily life. The outcome will help define the next era of global trade, setting the tone for America's role in the world economy for a generation to come.